Hey guys, this is the MMA Exchange. Let's react to the results of UFC Fight Night, Cannonier versus Borralho.
The MMA Exchange.
Alright guys, Leonardo versus Wang Kong. What did I say? She's the much better striker, much better kickboxer. She's well-rounded everywhere. She even had a win over Valentina Shevchenko in kickboxing, and she has now the second quickest knockout in division history. This is someone that is potentially top 5. Really, really good skill set. She managed the distance very well, and as soon as she found the opening, landed a crisp 1-2. She called out Casey O'Neill. That's the fight that I'd like to see next. Let's move on to the next one. Alright guys, next one was Jacqueline Calavalenti versus Josiane Nunes. I thought that Josiane Nunes would be able to break that distance from Jacqueline. What we saw actually was Jacqueline being able to put the jab on Nunes and was countering very, very well. What was very shit though by Nunes' performance was that Jacqueline kept circling to her left and Josiane for 3 rounds did not capitalize. You have to follow up 1-2. You can't just throw the overhand right. And I think that because she kept just trying to land the right hand and she didn't try and set it up, it made it so obvious for Jacqueline to find where her shots were going to be. And yeah, it went to a split decision. One judge gave it 30-27, which I think was absolutely fucking dog shit. But, you know, Jacqueline gets it done. We're now 1-1 for this event. Alright guys, my camera actually stuffed up and the audio was completely fucked. So this is my reaction to Vladislav Borshev versus Lontop. So what I noticed is that Lontop did not capitalize on the grappling ability of Borshev. That is his main weakness, everyone knows, and he tried to strike with him. The thing is with Borshev, when it stays standing on the feet, he is a phenomenal kickboxer. He did very well with the body shots, with the calf kicks. On the stats, he did very well, landing across the head, body, and legs. The thing is though, don't do rolling thunders. He kept trying to do this flip kick that was never landing. In round 3, though, we did see Lontop have a bit of success because Borshev was a little bit gassed. But, man, I definitely love this performance from Borshev. It definitely gives me a bit more confidence for him going into his next fight. The thing is, though, he does need to work on his grappling and by a lot. I know he's at Team Alpha Male to try and fix his grappling, but I don't think it's enough. I think he needs to go to another gym where he's predominantly wrestling because, like, I'm not sure. You get taken down by, Ben Askren's kid, Chase Hooper. You get taken down. The reason why he loses is because he gets taken down. So the fact that Lontop didn't capitalize on that shows that he has very low fight IQ, and I probably won't be picking him for my next predictions in his next fight. But look, guys, very, very good fight. I think they did get a bonus of some sort, so you love to see it. Good job for Borshev for getting the win. And guys, let's go to the next one. Guys, what a freaking hectic fight. Zachary Reese, it's his first time out of all his pro fights to go outside of the first round, and he went to a decision. His opponent, Medina, man, his chin and liver must be made of iron because the leg kicks, the body kicks, the punches, they were just landing all day. And man, Medina, he's like a overgrown he's like an overgrown welterweight. I think he's in a division at middleweight where he is too small. But, man, the way that he's able to push forward is just absolutely phenomenal. But he's not technical. He doesn't have what it takes to be in the UFC because there was quite a few openings on Zachary Reese, especially when they were up against the cage, and he didn't even capitalize. But Zachary Reese, man, what a phenomenal performance. I think this is going to teach Zach a lesson to pace yourself a bit more because he did just explode in round 1, and round 2 and 3 we saw his pace decline, and especially in round 3 where he went to his wrestling to slow down the fight. But look, overall, great performance. Zachary gets it done, and I picked him to win. All right, guys, Francis Marshall versus Denis Bazoukian. What a crazy banger of a fight. Round 1, though, was quite slow. It was 4 minutes of Francis Marshall just grappling against the fence. And then in the last minute, he did land a few shots. It wasn't much, but it was enough to take the round for Marshall. I had it first round, Marshall. Round 2, though, freaking bull in a china shop. Francis Marshall goes and just pressures, and I think because he was so wrestling heavy and wrestling dominant in round one, it gets Dennis Bazookian really scared of the takedown and afraid to open up his hands. And so that's why Francis Marshall rushes to the fence and pressures Dennis Bazookian to the fence, drops him clean. I thought he was knocked out. And then Dennis starts throwing jabs and starts countering as well, and he actually opens up, and Francis Marshall, his nose started leaking. And the last 20 seconds of the second round, we have 6 clean shots from Dennis Bazookian, but I don't think it was enough to steal the round. At this point, I had it 2 rounds up, and I think Dennis Bazookian needed a finish. Round 3 was going pretty good, but I just think the damage and the way that Francis was able to counter the shots from Dennis Bazookian was just way too far. You know, it went to a split decision. I don't know what these judges are saying. I clearly had it 29-28 for Francis Marshall. But guys, let me know down in the comments what you thought about that one. Gerald Meerschaert, what a fucking comeback. Round 2, snatches up the head and arm triangle. Edmund Shabazian was putting it on him. Round 1. Round 2 lands a counter right body shot that drops Gerald Meerschaert, and he unloads, I think it was like 50 to 40 answered, 40 to 50 shots. But because they were blocked, the referee decided to continue the fight and not stop it. We then see that Edmund Shabazian gets gassed. Gerald Meerschaert turns that into a takedown, gets the arm triangle, and he sets the record for most finishes in middleweight history. What an absolute comeback. Michael Morales, still undefeated, lands a TKO/KO, a win in the first round. Neil Magny, he was having issues with the calf kick in the opening of the first round. He engages in the clinch, and then a spinning elbow from Michael Morales sends him down to the canvas, and he finishes him off on the ground. MMA Exchange predicted Michael Morales to win by knockout. Let's fucking go. Marion Santos with a second round knockout over Khan Olfi. He threw the hook, missed it, and then landed the clean one that just was right on the button. Man, this fight was not like how I predicted. I thought Khan Olfi would be able to get the takedown and use his pressure wrestling, but he was having trouble gauging the distance. He couldn't land any shots. There was the only significant shot from Olfi was at the end of round 1. He landed a counter straight. But man, that was nothing for Santos. He is like a mini Anderson Silva. He's so fluid in his striking. He was doing so well, and man, Khan just could not get the distance. He couldn't engage in his grappling, and man, round 2, just Khan was pressuring up against the fence, and then just unleashed. He countered, and Santos ended up getting the knockout. For your winner of the featherweight division of TUF, we have Marion Santos. What a guy. Guys, Ryan Loader, round 2 TKO. What a crazy fight. What a high level fight as well. Robert Valentin engaging in the submissions and in the wrestling. Let's look at round 1 first. Loader goes for a takedown right away in the first round and ends up latching a submission. I'm not sure how the heck Robert Valentin got out of that or even escaped that, but there was some talks on the commentary desk where he might have injured his elbow trying to get out of that submission. He actually then ends up on top. He ends up getting on top, flattens out Loader, and goes in for the rear naked choke, and somehow Loader gets out of this. Loader then reverses position and rides the round on top, who I thought though was closest to finishing the fight, because when it's very, very close and strikes are similar, wrestling and grappling is similar, the judges go off who was the one that was able to finish the fight, or who was the one that was closest to finishing the fight, and I think that Valentin was that guy. But then in round 2, Loader goes in for a clinch, goes for a takedown. Valentin tries to go for a hip throw, fails it. Loader ends up on top, gets into the crucifix position, and that's all she wrote. He landed elbows, 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 and Valentin had no way to escape, and we see a round 2 TKO. What an impressive performance. And for your Ultimate Fighter winner in the middleweight division, we have Ryan Loader. Alright guys, the most boring fight of the night. We had Richie versus Hill. Round 1, Richie was able to negate the length and striking from Hill by being aggressive, aiming for the clinch, and Hill didn't really get much off. I think that because of the pressure, she wasn't able to land her shots. Richie and Hill looked very tired at the end of round 1, both in the corner, huffing and puffing, but the first round I gave to Richie. And then in round 2, Richie goes for the clinch and basically throws Hill onto the ground. Hill attempts a triangle, but Richie escapes it. Hill is landing. I feel that she was landing the cleanest shots, but how it looked like was that because Tabitha was able to put on the pace and Hill was getting tired and she was throwing like 10 shots, then 1 or 2 would land. It did look better. And the power from Hill, it was basically nothing. But actually round 2, I had it for Hill because she was landing the cleaner shots. We need to look at, just because you throw doesn't, and it looks good, doesn't mean, you score that opposed to a counter uppercut or to a counter jab. Then we have the third round. I thought that Hill won the third round. Hill opened up with a spinning elbow that rocked Tabitha. Tabitha missed a lot of the shots, and I think most of the clean shots happened. Most of the clean shots that landed were from Hill. But man, watch these. Like, the commentary saying that, it was a slugfest, it was a barn burner. That was absolute bullshit because Vladislav Borshev and Liontop was the barn burner of this card. So I think that they should get fight of the night, but I wouldn't be surprised that they give the girls fight of the night, which is absolute bullshit. But anyway, guys, we are on to now the main event. Guys, what an amazing fight. Cannonier versus Borralho. Borralho won via decision, but let's break it down round by round. In round 1, Caio opens up with a stiff jab. What I thought that Caio did very well in this fight was the jab and the leg kicks. And especially in round 1, 2 calf kicks landed that swept Jared Cannonier off his feet. Cannonier was doing well, but the cleaner strikes and the calf kicks were much more damaging. I gave the first round to Caio. Round 2 though, Cannonier starts to pressure Caio Borralho to the fence and lands a clean shot, rocking him. What Cannonier did different in round 2 was he started implementing stand switches, which confused Borralho. Caio did land the clean leg kicks, but because he got rocked by Jared Cannonier, I gave round 2 to Cannonier. To open up round 3, we had Caio who landed a clean check hook. But then once again, Cannonier rocks Borralho, and his timing was just so well with the right hand. What I noticed about, especially in this fight, was that whoever is pressuring forward is the fighter that's winning in the exchanges. And to close out round 3, a clean 1-2 lands for Borralho that rocks Cannonier. I had the third round for Borralho. Opening up round 4, it was very, very close. A stiff jab from Borralho, but then Cannonier did land really good right hands that was rocking. Borralho definitely was landing damage, and we saw underneath the eye of Borralho a clean cut, and that was leaking. Because of the damage and the cut, I did score round 4 for Cannonier. But man, round 5 is where all the action was happening, man, because it was the 5th round, and even though Jared Cannonier is 40 years old, he is a gamer. That did not stop him whatsoever. They were going back and forth, and then I believe it was in the last minute of the 5th round, a clean 1-2. I thought he was knocked out, but as soon as Cannonier landed to the floor from that 1-2, he woke up. And instead of Borralho letting him back up and finishing the job, he falls onto the canvas with him, tries to go for a head and arm triangle. It was very, very close. I thought that Cannonier was out at some points of the fight, but he wasn't. They ended up going to a decision. I had it 2-2 going into the 5th, and the 5th round was the deciding one. The judges' scorecards were a bit surprising to me. I actually had it 48-47 for Borralho. I'm not sure what judges were thinking, 49, but some I think was 49-46. I completely disagree. I thought it was even 2-2 going into the 5th, and Borralho got the job done. Man, now we see Borralho in the top 5. What I think he needs to implement, like, I was shocked that he didn't implement any grappling whatsoever. It was only until he dropped Cannonier where he implemented the grappling. I think the middleweight division lacks that grappling. But besides the champ Dricus Duplessis, I think Caio should really implement the grappling because that's his strong suit. These strikers at middleweight, Cannonier isn't really the best striker in that division. I think if you have an Adesanya, if you have a Whittaker, they'll be able to capitalize on those openings a bit better. But guys, thank you for tuning into the MMA Exchange. Feel free to like, subscribe, and share my videos. Also, go on TikTok and type in the MMA Exchange where you can look at additional content. Until the next one, guys.